Hi, I'm Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author of Soul Trader, Putting the Heart Back into Your Business. And welcome to the latest Soul Trader mini webinar. And today's topic is a topic which I talked about in my own main newsletter. And it's space, structure and serendipity. These three qualities, these three disciplines, these three themes, these three ways of being are really, really powerful in us being very effective, very productive, and for us to be in a really, really good mind space, practical space, for us to really enjoy the fulfillment in life and for us to really be in a place of peace. Because sometimes, particularly when you are running a busy business, you can be very, very overwhelmed, or you can be or you can be very disorganized. You can feel very, very burdened. You can feel very, very burned out. And these three elements, these three themes that I'm going to talk very, very briefly about will really help you to have a far more effective, productive, efficient business, but also a more peaceful, fulfilled life. And who doesn't want that? So let's start with space. Space. Very often we have busy lives and busy mind, and you might have a very cluttered office, a cluttered computer. Everything's really, really busy. So for me, the starting point is space. And we need headspace. We need living business space. And we need, I think it's really good if we have an open heart, so we have that heart space. Let's start off with the physical space. My first tip is to clear your home, regularly clear things out. The wardrobes, the rooms, the clutter. Just give yourself space. It's amazing the impact that clutter has on us, be it that that's the physical clutter that you can see, or all the files, all the millions of emails that you've not cleared. Space. So I recommend having regular clear outs of space, so that you have space and that you keep some space. I have a saying that you can't pour more water into a full cup without causing a spillage. So space is really, really, really important. Space gives you clarity. Space gives you room to breathe. And whilst we're talking about physical space and room to breathe, I'm a big fan of nature. I often say that the only thing I ever recommend for anybody is nature. That time in nature. If you've got a very, very busy mind or lots of stuff that's really, really overwhelming you, I highly recommend that you take that time that you might need out in nature so that you can reconnect to yourself, reconnect to what you're about, but also that you can just get perspective on the things that you're working on. Just the other day I was working with on the British Library's Innovating for Growth programme, which is a programme which helps people take their business to the next stage, helps them to scale it up. If you search British Library Innovating for Growth programme, you'll find it. It's a free programme for businesses based in and around London that are turning over £100,000, and it's a programme that helps them to grow. And I run the first workshop called Getting Ready for Growth. We help people to meet each other, find out about the programme for the first time, and my workshop gives them really the space to really reconnect to themselves and what they're about and their goals. And there's a section in it where I got them to think a little bit about life balance and how they manage their lives and so on. And a couple of people shared how, for example, when they go out into space, they often get far clearer, they get a lot of practical stuff done in many ways, and by leaving something behind, often that there some of their best thinking comes through because they've allowed space. But reconnecting to nature is really, really important. So we've talked a lot about that physical space, but there's also the mind space. I highly recommend starting off the day in silence, or by gently being grateful for your life and the people in your life, starting with gratitude. That leads us to that heart space that I was talking about. I love that saying that people say, do you have it in your room? Do you have room in your heart? Sometimes we live in a very, very busy head space. Clutter, noise, gossip, anger. I highly recommend the silence, the stillness, the gratitude, so that you move a place from fighting and battling and anger to one where you're far more compassionate and where you're far more at peace. I have a saying that which is talking all about this thing about peace of mind. In order to arrive at peace of mind, first you need to come to peace with the contents of your mind. So it's just coming to peace with the contents of your mind, acceptance, letting things be. And the more it is that you open your heart, the more you have this heart space. And this is incredibly important in business, because you need that room for, and that energy for what you're doing. You need to be able to meet your customers warmly, kindly. You need to have that bandwidth to deal with the challenges that will emerge. So space is number one. So remember, have that clear out, take that time that you need out so that you can go out into nature. And we're talking about having really an open mind and a warm and open heart. Space. Now let's move on to structure. In business, you need to be organised, you need to systemize, you need to be able to prioritise. You need to know what's really important. So my first tip is that make sure you spend some time being very clear. What is it you're trying to achieve in your life? What is it you're trying to achieve in your business? Your mind wants the plan. Because your mind wants to plan, it is very wise that you have a strategy for your business, even though that life might pan out very, very differently. Having that strategy and action plan. In the book Soul Trader, there's a 2-page action plan. I highly recommend it. Sometimes you might need a far more detailed plan and so on, but I highly recommend that. Even if you've got a 2-page plan, so page 1 has all your goals, what you want to achieve, financially, operationally, and in terms of marketing. And that therefore page 2 is looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, your SWOT analysis, but crucially, the second half of it is basically an action plan. Is an action plan to help you look at the actions that you need to take. So being organised, being systemised really does help, and that having that strategy enables you to put the other things in place. Your marketing plan, your financial plans, your operational plans and processes. What are the processes you need to put in place? What's the structure that you need? You might need a structure for your timetable. You might have a structure for your files, for your products, for your services, what have you. You really need to step back and think about how it is you're going to systemize, how it is you'll organize things, and you need to then begin to work at prioritizing. If you're no good at that, get yourself a mentor or get yourself a coach who can really help you with that. It's really essential in business. But anything that you do regularly, think about how it is that you could systemize that. Clear files, clear systems, clear emails, clear processes and procedures that are written down or that you know in your mind, but if you are working with other people, it's really good that they're written down, will really, really hugely help you to be organized in your business. And I think particularly in the early years, it's really, really good to have all of these things systemized and organized so you know what you're doing and that you're focused, and it helps create momentum. And of course, the more you grow, and as your business grows, that you might then need to put in new systems and priorities. So we've talked about space, and we've talked about structure. And wrapping up that structure, you might find that your days, again, need to have structure, or certain times in the year might need structure. There's a lot of this in the creativity section of the Soul Trader book that will help you. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this little mini webinar is serendipity. Serendipity is all about the happy accidents in life. It's about chance. It's about intuition. It's about life's magic. It's about possibility. It's about that which goes far beyond our plans in our mind. So whilst we leave the space to keep us energized and refreshed and to help us reconnect to ourselves, and which also helps us be alert to things that we might need to address in our own lives, in the business environment, because you've got that space, you're beginning to spot things. You know, if you think about animals, animals are great with this. They're good in space and they can spot and perceive and be aware and alert. So the other element of space I didn't zoom into in that much detail is that by clearing space, by having that head space, you've got that room to really begin to spot what's going on, which you can't when you're like that. But serendipity is very different to the structure side of things. It has far more to do with the space side of things. But when you've got A, the structure, A, the space, and B, then you've got certain structures in space which are about freeing you up and helping you just to be far more efficient effectively. What they combined help support is for you to then again embrace serendipity. Serendipity happens when we embrace life, when we embrace ourselves, when we realise that sure, we've created space and sure, we've got the plan, but life flows in its own way. It's about embracing yourself, embracing your talents, it's about embracing others. It's about embracing the ups and downs in life and the challenges in life and the fact that things will come along and that things won't happen in the timing that you expected it to. And recognising that that's all right. And that is the nature of life. Serendipity is about listening to and trusting your intuition, your inner tuition, your inner wisdom. In this way, sometimes magical things happen. I was just saying in my main newsletter that have you ever had that experience where you're planning to do something, planning to leave the house on time, and for whatever reason you couldn't and you're running quite late, and then all of a sudden you bump into somebody on the street, on the road, the tube station, the subway, what have you, who you haven't seen for ages. That's serendipity. Serendipity has something to do with surrender, where at last you've let go of something, certain things, and then all of a sudden something happens where you'd had to take time out, and all of a sudden it happened to me earlier today, then something comes through, a piece of work or some money that's due to you or whatever it might well be. It might just be a beautiful, like outside here you won't be able to see it, but a beautiful early evening sun, sky. You could be gifted in so many different ways, but only when we embrace life and we're open to life. I have a saying that every now and then the window of serendipity will be open and then you've got to go with it. Sometimes there'll be some moments of your life where everything seems to be happening serendipitously. It happened for me at one of the moments in when my music career became over time my coaching career, and at some other times when you're just open to life and you're embracing it and you're not overly caught up in the mind. It's very powerful and it's very, very relevant in business, because sometimes business is about just knowing who you are, being who you are, doing your work, really caring about your customers and doing a good job. And the more you do that, and things happen. And the more you embrace the opportunities of life, things happen. And I have another saying, which is the magic of life happens when I stop expecting life to give me opportunities, and when I start presenting opportunities to life. By showing up, by being who you are, by sharing your gifts with others. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. It's a very different way about going about business, but yeah, it has some of the key aspects about going about business, that structure, that scheduling, that mindset, that focus that an athlete has, that space, Zen-like space, that meditative space of a martial artist or a Zen master. And the serendipity, the magic of a wizard. But you know what I mean. Finally, just in case you haven't heard about it, remember there's lots of stuff on soultrader.biz, soul-trader.biz. Remember there's a Soul Trader Facebook page if you search for that. But I also wanted to mention to you, if you haven't heard about it, about our wonderful Soul Trader retreat, Life, Leadership and Legacy, which is taking place in Portugal, in Spain for the second year, 25th of August to the 31st of August, and it's 3 retreats in one. Mind, body, spirit. So there's time for the self, for your business, for your leadership development, body, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, spirit, time in nature, excursions, leisure time. And can you see there we've got a special offer on? So if you quote this special code, you can get £1,000 off. And it's really for you if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a sole trader, if you do business from the heart. But equally, I know lots of people who are leaders in organisations or experts and so on who have busy lives. It's ideal for you if you're at that point of burnout, or when you're wanting to boost your well-being, or in fact if you're wanting to really take your business to that next stage of success and progress and fulfillment. So check out the details if you go to soultraderretreats.com, you'll find the details, and it's run in proud partnership with Red Lotus Retreats. When you click on that, it will take you through to the Red Lotus page where you can see all the details. And remember, there again is that code. And if you're wanting to pass on a copy of this to somebody else who would find it useful, if you find me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, or the Soul Trader Twitter feed, you'll find posted right at the top is a copy of these, so you can pass it on to a loved one or a friend or somebody who you know would really benefit from it. So that's me. Thank you so much for tuning in to the latest Soul Trader webinar, and I hope to see you soon. I'm sending you lots of love and wishing you all the best on your life journey and your business journey. Take good care. Bye-bye.